Okay, so let's continue our discussion. So we stop here in the weaving. Ayan. So as I have said before, weaving is more on mga textiles and fabrics that we use for a clothes right now. Ayan, let's move on to the next. It is the pottery. So pottery, one example of a pottery is that for a mga ginagawa sa mga, like for example, mga vase, mga jars, ayan, even sa mga spoons, plates, bowls, ayan, those are examples wherein pottery has been recognized with the use of pangkabuhayan din. Ayan. So as you can see here, the old man or the elder is making a pot made with a clay and of course with the wooden molding clay, molding pot. And the clay was being used with the earthen soil. Yan. So galing siya sa mga lupa na, for example, mga red soil, orange soil, ayan, pink na soil, meron din. Ayan. So as you can see here, traditional pot making in certain areas of the Philippines would use clay found near the Sibalom River. So it was the starting area or place na kung saan doon sila nag-umpisang kumuha ng mga clay for them to mold, shape, uh, pot made out from clay. So it was a native Filipinos created pottery since 35 years ago. Of course, wala pa tayo noon dyan. Hindi pa nag-meet yung mga parents natin dyan. And hindi pa siguro na ipapanganak yung mga parents natin dyan, I'm sure. Ayan, so let me first open my camera. Ayan, so once again, traditional pot making was begun in 35 years ago and from the many decades. Ayan. And another use of pottery is for the deceased people. So before they are using a jar rather. Let's say for example, we have here the manunggol jar wherein yung mga patay na tao is nilalagay nila doon for them to preserve yung mga buto-buto ng mga patay na tao. Note yun ha. And hanggang sa nag-develop na, nag-improve na, little by little, ayan, natutunan ng mga tao na magkaroon ng mga, wait lang, my presentation is being, natutunan na ng mga tao na, ayan, magbungkal ng mga lupa para doon na nila ilalagay yung mga diseases. And even yung form nila ng mga stones, and then nalagyan nila ng cross sign, that is a symbol of a deceased person. So noon yun. Another one, the use of pot is that for a base. Yan, doon nila nilalagay yung mga decorations nila for either flowers, decorations nila, and yung mga base na nilalagay nila, pinipinturahan nila yung mga wall base ng mga nabuo nilang pot. And even more is a plate. They are using also a plate, a bowl, yan, yung banga, di ba noon, yung sinaunang gamit nila noon is yung banga na made out of a pot or clay. Ayan, so, as I have remembered, yung mga lolo't lola ko, they still use this before, but now I don't see the pot anymore. Or yes, yung banga na yun. Ayan, so tignan nyo naman yung kung gaano ka-creative yung mga Pilipino noon. So they were started with just a pot, a banga, made out of clay, and then naging metallic na sa ngayon. Ayan, yung mga banga natin na yun, mga rice cooker pa. Ayan. So, let's go with the sculpture. So, when we say sculpture, it is more on mga pag-uukit. It's either sa bato, it's either sa mga stones, ayan, it's either sa mga clays or even sa mga woods. Yan, sculpture is done through woods, stones, and even sa mga large mga bato. Ayan, so they also made a sculpture from a cave, so, dun sa mga kuweba. Ayan, so maglalagay sila ng sculpture ng mga tao, sculpture ng mga hayop, sculpture ng mga horses, like that. And sculpture is done to a shape, form, content, as well as the medium that they use. So what are the medium that they use? Of course, they use even yung mga metals. Nag-umpisa sila noon ng mga metals. Nag-umpisa sila noon ng mga stones na it made by a sharpened stones. Ayan. And this sculptures was created to depict normal lives and acts of worships, and the colors were also limited. And ang sculpture din is naging modern na siya. So you can also do the sculpture through different forms. When we say we have this sculpture na nakikita natin sa mga ethnic tribes, specifically dito sa Ifugao, dito sa mga Car regions, and even din sa mga other regions from the region 4A and from the Mindanao. Ayan. So but then let's focus sa mga near provinces natin, sa mga local natin. So we have here sa Ifugao that they have this culture na they have this sculpture na yung may nakaupo na patay na sculpture. We have the bulul, ayan, bulul, ayan. So that is an example of sculpture made out from the tribe of Ifugao. So they use there the knife, particular, or yung mga ginagamit nilang mediums to sculpt the woods. Ayan. And we also have here folk performing arts, that we call it today na folk dances. So we have different folk dances din, di ba? We have tinikling, karinyosa, but before, from the cultural center of the Philippines, which was, ito yung place wherein they're going to perform the arts in performing. So before, they have here the performing arts of mga, let's say, some example is harana, ayan, kundiman, bahay, kubo, yun din, and even yung mga, and some other na performing arts na ginagawa nila noon. So yan. So it is mostly done through a kundiman wherein they're going to use a vocabulary through singing and even with the use of instrumental musics that produces sounds together with the songs that they are going to sing. Ayan, folk dancing too is also popular to the from the regions of the Philippines. So we have here the different folk dances of the Philippines. Katulad yung nabanggit ko kanina, we have folk dancing of Karinyosa, Tinikling, Kuratsa, we were adapted from the Spaniards. Ayan, and they have also these kinds of music that came from the Muslim and Spanish, as well as the lowlands and mountains inspired. From the Spanish and Muslims, ayan, from the lowlands, we have these performing arts that they do. Ano ba yun? Yung sino ka, aglabas-labas, yun yung performing arts and lowlands. And while the mountains inspired, ayan, sa mga highlanders, let's say highlanders, ayan, so they have this tayaw, ayan. And they also do this for with the purpose of formal and ceremonial, and of course for them to portray their lives, or for them to show how was their identity, and kung ano yung pagkakakilanlan sa kanila, their way of lives. Ayan. So they are going to perform it to show their lives through the different dances that they are going to perform. And dancing is also form of an arts. Ayan. So the next one is all about the folk architecture. So what is the first pinakaunang architecture na nagawa ng mga Pilipino noon? We have, ayan, so we have a bahay kubo. So noon, yung mga ninuno natin noon or mga forefathers natin noon, of course, hindi na uso ngayon ito kasi ito yung pinakaunang house nila noon. They call it the bahay kubo, which is the first architectural made by the Filipinos forefathers. Until naging na-develop na yung mga Pilipino, na-develop na din yung mga materials used, na-develop na din yung bubong, yung paggawa ng mga bintana, ng mga fences, like that, even yung mga materials used, ayan. So from the indigenous materials, ayan, naging modern materials na siya. Look at the difference from the beginning up to the present. Ayan, so ang laking diferensya ng architecture dito sa atin because Filipino were being creative. Ayan, so they use varied influences from the local and foreign. And maybe because of the colonization from the American, Spaniards, and even sa mga sumakop sa atin noong unang panahon. And they give us the influences sa pagkakaroon ng mga pagbabago sa arkitektura. Ayan, so one example is the result of growth, time, varied influences of our neighboring countries, and sinasabi ko kanina, the colonizers, and even sa mga melting pot featuring both uniquely the pre-colonial architecture in the Philippines. Ayan, so the main point here is that the changes from bahay kubo into a modern and concrete houses. And also with the transportation of our goods, with the transportation of a business purposes, and transportation for a land transportation of the people. So this is called the maritime transportation, wherein they are going to create or make a boats, covers boat houses, boat na bahay. Ayan, so both for maritime and traditions too. So they are going to use a wood. Noon, they are going to use a wood. So I think lahat ng bagay nag-umpisa sa mga puno, mga woods, yan, sa mga indigenous na materials. Until naging modern na tayo, of course, they are now using metals, irons for them to make a boat. Ayan, but before the elders and handicraftsmen, these structures were used to be principal vehicles of the Filipino. So ito yung sasakyang pandagat ng mga Pilipino noon. Ayan, it is a boat made by woods. Ayan, so yan yung sasakyang pandagat for them to transfer the people from one place to another place sa mga rivers or seas. Ayan, so these were the roads na tatahakin nila with the use of the boats. Ayan, so they are using these boats for a business purposes and transportation of goods. Ayan, so noon, ginagamit nila ang boats for them to transfer yung mga source of their income or source of their living. Like for example, mga gulay at prutas, and tinatransport nila sa kabilang barangay, noon balangay. Ayan, and then, yung ibang barangay naman, ayan, nagtransport din sila ng goods nila sa ibang barangay. And that is a transportation of their way of living. So with the use of a boat. So how do boats so useful before? And we also have here the graphic and plastic art. When we say graphic, it is more on mga graphic designs, like for example in writing, calligraphy, photography, painting, ayan, computer graphics, and digital graphics. Meron din tayo ngayon. Na before, ang ginagawa nilang sa graphics before is the use of calligraphy, wherein they are going to write a coded, yung Alibaba and Alibata noon. Yung pinakaunang pagsusulat natin noon. Ayan, so they're going to iuukit nila yung mga words noon sa mga bato, sa mga wood, sa mga walls, like that. And it is a way of their communication to other people, and even a way of making their expressions of feelings with the other people. Ayan, so plastic art naman is the arts that we use. Ito yung mga uso na ngayon. Yung plastic art na yun is yung pagkakaroon ng mga plastic surgery. Plastic surgery. Okay, so ayan, so ang plastic art is a physical manipulation of plastic medium molding or melting, such as sculpture or ceramics. We also have the ceramics of glass. Yung we are going to mold a glass. Like for example, right now, people are now using with the glass windows. Ayan. With the monoblocks used by plastics. Ayan, sa mga laptops made by metals or mga materials natin, kitchen materials natin, and even more sa lahat-lahat ng bagay, it was molded through a plastic arts. And even yung kilala nyo. Charot. And that is the different kinds of traditional arts in the Philippines. So in conclusion, traditional arts has begun from the late people or from the late years na nag-improve, na-generate, na-radiate, na ipasa-pasa, na-improve, and then na-develop up until to the generations, and even more to the next generations, and even for the future generations. Ayan. So, it has been the growth and development of the people's life, people's way of living, people's population, the people's yan, yung development ng mga Pilipino noon. Even sa mga roads, structures, sa mga bahay, sa lahat ng nakikita natin ngayon, even nga sa electricity, di ba, ang ginagamit nila noon is mga, yung, what do we call this? Okay, so, ayan, isearch nyo na lang kung anong ginagamit nila noon na paano. Pero sa Ilocano, I think, yung word term na yun is parang, ano ba yung term na yun? Para siyang lantern light, pero ano, I don't know the term, isearch nyo na lang. Okay, so, kayo nang bahala. Okay, so that's all about the traditional arts in the Philippines. And for other arts, you can also search for your further references and informations. So these are just some traditional arts in the Philippines that I discussed and mentioned to you. And, ayan, so that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. I hope you are safe there, and I hope you do your activities and assignments. And of course, I hope that you review in advance for your upcoming examinations. Ayan, so keep safe and good day.